Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Maureen. Today I am going to be talking about my experience with my Mirena IUD. I had my IUD for about a little over a year and a half. I got my IUD inserted in March of last year, so March of 2021, and I got it removed this year in September. So a year and 9 months. So first I'm going to talk about insertion. I'm going to go through the whole process of insertion after I got it inserted, how it was like having it, and then what led me to get it removed and the months after I got it removed. So before I got it inserted, I read up on people's experience with the IUD. I looked at a lot of Reddit threads and online forums and watched some YouTube videos. There weren't a lot of YouTube videos about people's experience with the IUD, which is one of the reasons why I decided to make this video, because there's really not that many videos talking about it, especially videos that are current. Most people talking about their experience were saying that when you get it inserted, it is so painful. It's more painful than childbirth. It's the most horrific pain they've ever experienced. And people were saying how they passed out or were about to pass out. So I was really nervous before I got it. My doctor asked prior to my appointment if I wanted her to prescribe medication before I got it inserted. And I said yes, because reading all of that got me so nervous. So she prescribed me 4 medications. One was ibuprofen. She prescribed hydrocodone nausea pills, and then a 4th one. I don't remember exactly what the 4th one was. So because she prescribed me hydrocodone and nausea pills and all that, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is really gonna hurt. So I talked to my friend who had gotten an IUD like a year prior, and asked her if she took any medicines before and if it was painful, and she said no. She said all she did was take a Tylenol and then went back to work. So I was like, okay, that's like so different from what everybody else is saying. So I ended up not taking any medicine when I went into my appointment, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna see how it is. So I drove to my appointment myself. No, I didn't. Actually, I got a ride from my dad, and because I didn't know if I was gonna pass out or if I was gonna be able to drive after. So I got a ride just in case. And then the insertion was surprisingly not even painful for me at all. It did not hurt. On a pain scale of 1 to 10, it was a 1. It was painless for me. All I did was feel a little pinch when she inserted it, and that was it, but it wasn't painful at all. So I think honestly it just depends on, one, your pain tolerance, your body, and your doctor. After I got it inserted, I just went back home and then took a nap and went to sleep for the day. After I got it inserted, everything was fine, and a few days later, maybe like 4 or 5 days later, I started spotting. I was spotting for about 2 weeks straight. On the 2nd week of the continuous spotting, I called my doctor and kind of complained, like, why am I spotting? It's not stopping. And they prescribed me some medication that stops the spotting, which you take for, I think, like 5 days. It's a little pill that you take 5 days. Then after I took it, I stopped spotting. My periods stayed on the same schedule, so depending on the person, some people stop having periods altogether. I didn't. I still got my period every month, and my period stayed on the same schedule as it was before. The only difference was initially, normally my periods were 7 days long, and after I got the IUD, my periods were between 7 and 10 days, but it was really just light spotting, like light to medium spotting throughout the 7 to 10 days. So I still got my period every month at the same time that it was scheduled. It was just longer and slower. The side effects of having it for me, which is what led to me getting it removed, was the continuous spotting. It just kind of got out of control. So like I said, I would get my period, and then it just started lasting so long. So on top of it already being 10 days, it would stop, and then 2-3 days later after it was over, I would start spotting again for another 5, 6, 7 days. So I ended up spotting or bleeding of some sort at least half of the month. Another side effect that I had was my acne got so bad. I got really bad hormonal acne that I had to go to the dermatologist to get prescription medicine for, because it was not going away. My dermatologist prescribed me this cream for my acne and a face wash and tretinoin. And if you go to my TikTok, there's actually a before and after of what my acne looked like, of how bad it was, and then how it cleared up. My acne got really bad, and then I was always bloated, which I didn't know why I was bloated, but looking back on it now that it's out, I'm pretty sure it was due to the IUD, because it didn't matter what I would eat, I was always bloated. And I'm naturally skinny. I have a naturally like flat stomach and everything. So I only get bloated if I eat a lot or drink soda or something. But even if I was eating healthy, I was still bloated. Also, I was moody all the time, especially right before my period. I would get so moody, and I was always so tired. I was very fatigued, and I didn't really think of it. I didn't really make the connection at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was related to the IUD, because prior to that, before I got on it and after, I get tired here and there, especially on my period, but nowhere near as much as I was when I had the IUD. So those were my major side effects and why I decided to get it out. I will say, for my periods, I also want to add that I didn't have a period for 2 months out of the time duration that I had it. So 1 month was December, and then it was another month that I didn't get my period at all. And I was so hopeful those months, like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna have a period anymore, yay. But then the next month my period would come back. So it just doesn't work like that for some people. Some people still get their periods, and I was one of them. So initially I wanted to get it removed actually in like March of this year, but I kept putting it off because I would travel a lot, and I had read up on how the removal process is. Some people's experiences that I read were talking about the Mirena crash and how they were just so tired after, or their body was so messed up and their bleeding was just so heavy, and I didn't want to deal with that when I was traveling. So I just kept putting it off, because every month I would have something to do. So September I finally decided to get it removed, and that was because that was after my vacation, and I could finally like just sit down and rest if I needed to. So before I had my appointment to get it removed, I did kind of prepare to come off of it for the whole month prior to my appointment. My preparation for that was mostly diet related. So I ate way more vegetables, way more fruits. I always eat a lot of fruit, but I upped my fruit and veggie intake, and I ate mostly fish that whole month, and I didn't drink any alcohol, with the exception of the week that I went on vacation. Then I kind of didn't really like focus on my diet, but that was like my preparation to come off, was just really focusing on my diet and making sure I'm getting enough vitamins and nutrients and water and exercising and sleep and all of that, just being healthy. So removal of it did not hurt at all. There wasn't even a pinch, so a scale of 1 to 10, it was still a 1. It didn't hurt. She just plopped it out. I shouldn't say plop, that's kind of gross. She just pulled it out. My period started 2 days after I got it removed, which was on schedule for when it was supposed to start. And so far I've only had 2 cycles since I've gotten it removed. First cycle was shorter and lighter than my periods before I got the IUD. My second cycle was heavier, but I think that's mainly because I ate like trash for the past month, so my flow is like dependent on my diet, so that's my fault. So after effects, I didn't get the Mirena crash, and it could have been due to me really focusing on my nutrition before I came off, or it could just be because, I don't know, my body is just different. I don't know. I guess it just depends on your body. So I think everybody's experience is different. Obviously, there's so many negative experiences out there online that you kind of think you're gonna have that experience, but mine was totally different. So I will say I'm kind of like back to normal in terms of my cycle and everything. I don't have any more bloating on a day-to-day basis. My PMS is back to normal, which my PMS for me is just craving a lot of sugar or greasy food, not being moody. I don't have any more random spotting or extra long periods, and I have more energy. My skin looks better. I'm not breaking out anymore. So in conclusion, the Mirena was just not it for me. I did read that it's best for women who have children. I don't have any children. And that may have been one of the reasons why I was dealing with so much spotting. It's designed more for women with kids. It's something about the structure of it and all of that. I did like how it lightened your periods. If my periods weren't so long when I was on it, maybe I would have kept it. I don't know. All in all, I think I just like being on my body's own natural clock and my body's natural chemistry, and not having to deal with any unnecessary and annoying symptoms and side effects. I think the Mirena is good if you have extremely heavy periods or a regular period. It's good for that. If you travel a lot and you don't want to have to deal with your periods, it's good for that too. But it was just too much of a hassle for me with the spotting and extra long periods and all of that. So I was like, this isn't normal. So that's why I decided it's not for me. So that was my experience with my IUD. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comment section. If you had the IUD, then leave your experience below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.